Greetings, loved ones. Today we're going to talk about trauma triggers and how to overcome them. Help us get these messages out. Please subscribe to our channel, follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit the like button and the notification bell, and please share these messages with others. You could save a life. A survivor might be able to escape a violent partner, but they may experience traumatic stress afterwards, including triggers or unsettling sensory reminders of previous trauma. Mark Lerner, PhD, a clinical and forensic psychologist, traumatic stress consultant, and author of It's Okay Not to Be Okay, says, a trigger is some sort of stimuli that would precipitate a recollection from a person's past that impacted one of their senses. Triggers come in many forms, though experts categorize them as internal triggers like a thought, feeling, memory, emotion, or bodily sensation. External triggers like a situation, people, locations, conversations, or an observation. Some triggers might be obvious, such as hearing a heated argument or seeing violence, while others may take time to identify and understand. Triggers are very personal, and it is difficult to predict whether a person will experience them and what those triggers may be. For survivors of domestic violence, many things can be triggers, but here are a few examples for victims of domestic violence. Certain sounds, such as yelling, glass breaking, a door slamming, witnessing a couple arguing, sights from locations where they were attacked as minute as a tile or fabric pattern, the smell of an attacker's cologne or perfume, a specific color, pattern, or style of clothing that their abuser often wore, the taste of blood in their mouth, the close proximity of another person, especially a male, touch from another person, such as a hug or pat on the back, or even just placing a hand on someone's arm. And then there are questions or comments made innocently enough by someone else that a survivor's controlling abuser used to make, such as, "What did you do today?" or "Who are you talking to on the phone?" And then there are anniversaries of dates specific to the couple. A survivor could also be triggered by the anniversary of a significant date, a news report about domestic violence, or seeing someone who reminds them of their attacker. And when a trigger happens, survivors shouldn't be surprised if a memory replays in their mind and that they experience the full range of emotions or physical reactions they had associated with that experience, such as panic, anxiety, nausea, crying, irritability, being startled, fear, and paranoia. Past trauma is powerful, and it is not uncommon for a survivor's response to be equally strong. So how can you work through trauma triggers? Some triggers might be easy to avoid, like not driving by your old home. But what can survivors do to work through triggers that aren't so simple to avoid? Be prepared that triggers can and will happen. Lerner says it's important for people to realize that it's okay not to be okay. After enduring the trauma of domestic violence, it will take time, even years for some, to get to a point where certain sights, smells, and sounds don't trigger a stressful event. And triggers can occur for years after the trauma, so you shouldn't necessarily be alarmed if something triggers you after you have been free from the violence for some time. We'll wait for the sound to pass. This is our life. It is what it is. When you learn what your triggers are, you might be able to catch your response in the moment. Lerner uses a snowball analogy. If you have a small snowball in your hand, you can crush it fairly easy. But once you roll it around for a while, it becomes too large to smash. He says, our thoughts are the same way. If you can catch yourself at the first sign of a trigger, you can better manage the situation. So talk it out. Different strategies work for different people, Lerner says that one thing that has been shown to be helpful across the board is talking about your thoughts and feelings. This can be with a close friend or family member, a spiritual leader, mental health professional, or someone else you trust. Find a positive sensory experience. Just as certain sights or sounds might incite panic, others can calm you down. Explore positive sensory input. that can help you combat the effects of a trigger. Try different inputs like petting an animal, putting on your favorite song, or inhaling a relaxing scent when you begin to feel overwhelmed, and see what works for you. The question is not if you will encounter a victim of violence. The question before God is, what will you do when you do encounter them? You could be the person who saves a life. We are all called to be champions for justice. And those who suffer violence, they need to know that those who love them and those who don't even know them will reach out to them and give them the help they need before it's too late. So help us get these messages out. Subscribe to our channel. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Hit that like button and the notification bell and share these messages with others. You could save a life. If you're a victim of violence, I want you to listen to me. I want you to know that you are valued, you are loved, you are intelligent, and you are worthy. God does not want you to suffer violence. He wants you to live free from violence in peace and tranquility. And I want you to know that there is a way out. It is not your fault. Abuse is not love. You are not alone. If you're a victim of violence, reach out to someone today. If you find yourself in a dangerous situation, call 911 for help. If you know of a senior suffering violence, tell the authorities. If you know of a child suffering violence, tell the authorities. In our next episode, we're going to talk about how you need to learn to stop apologizing after you leave abuse. Until then, God bless you. Dios te bendiga.